Picks for level up to with their 4th selection. They're going to go in for the Puck. Okay. Not a bad choice, actually. Kind of surprised that the Puck didn't get banned out. It wasn't banned in the previous match either, and neither side had really gone for it, but you can't reasonably expect the Puck to go unbanned in back-to-back matches without somebody eventually sort of snatching that hero up. So, Level Up will get the Puck on their side. That could help them in terms of trying to sort of keep some of these opposing heroes at bay. Excuse me, keep them at arm's length with that Dream Coil. Not always a perfect solution, but it's probably better than really most of the other options in that middle lane outside of maybe something like an Invoker play. But, they go for the Puck instead. And that Puck pick leads us into the final phase of the bans. Level Up, focusing on the middle lane as they remove the TA and the Tinker. Okay. Very rarely do we see the Tinker ban get much consideration here, but Level Up were at least sort of entertaining the notion that Wish would potentially play that hero here. So, not going to let the Tinker through. Meanwhile, for Brame, their focus exclusively on the offlane position. Night Stalker and Pangolier, both going to be removed there. Now we await the final pick from the Level Up side. At this point, I don't know. It feels like they could just go for someone a little bit tanky. Yeah, there you go. Looking for someone tanky. The Axe does fit the bill there, but the Axe also does bring a little bit more in the way of offensive firepower to the equation as well. We've been seeing in recent times that Axe sort of shift away from really just being exclusively sort of an initiating hero into actually turning himself into a bit of a damage dealer as well. The itemization has somewhat shifted for the Axe. We've even seen the Shard pickup pretty frequently to get those counter helixes on your right clicks. So the Axe has sort of evolved in recent times into a, I would say, much more viable threat. He's not just there for the blink call anymore. He can seriously dish out some damage himself. So we'll see what Level Up can get from, I presume, Funnick on that Axe. Meanwhile, for Brame, they're going to go in for the last pick, Wind Ranger. So there's a pretty substantial amount of physical damage here on the Brame side between the Troll Warlord and the Wind Ranger. Said Wind Ranger may want to be a little bit careful of her positioning here. The Level Up side do have a nice bit of sort of lockdown to work with, and while the Wind Ranger is an incredibly mobile hero, sort of elusive in a maybe slightly similar vein as the Puck, it shares the same sort of weakness. If you do get locked down, you're not exactly the most durable hero in the world here. So, Brame going to have to be very careful with Wish's positioning, but overall, honestly, I still think I like the Brame lineup at this point. Damage and durability looking pretty good for them. They've got a decent bit of lockdown here as well, so feels like they still have an advantage. I will say, though, in defensive Level Up, this lineup they've put together here for Game 2 looks substantially better, I think, than what they ran in Game 1. Will that be enough for them to actually win? I'm not entirely sure of that, but I think they stand a better chance in this match than they did in the previous one, if that counts for much of anything. So, prediction-wise, I think we go for Brame once again, but I feel like this one is going to have the potential to be a bit closer, and obviously has the potential to go further than 25 minutes like the previous match did. But we will have to find out. Should be loading in just a couple more moments here as we wait for Game 2 to get underway. Ah, man. There we go. Taking a moment to grab a sip of water there while we waited for that one to get underway, but we are now ready to go. Game 2 of this best of 3 officially getting started here, as we will take a moment to run you through the lineups. Starting with Level Up, once again on the Radiant half of the map. We take a look at what they're running here. We've got RDO on the Lifestealer. There we go. RDO on the Lifestealer should be making his way down to the bottom lane. Meanwhile, mid, it's going to be Noob on the Puck. And up in the top lane, it's a bit of a tri-lane setup for the time being. We see Funnick on the Axe, along with LeBron on the Elder Titan, and DNZ playing the Rubik. So, I don't know if they're actually going to commit for a tri-lane setup here, but as of right now, at least, they do have both of the supports up here alongside the Axe. Meanwhile, for the side of Brame, we see Focus on the Troll Warlord, presumably going to be making his way top. Spartan hanging out alongside him on that Oracle. Leaves us with our middle lane in the hands of Wish on the Wind Ranger, and down bot, it is going to be the duo of Centaur Warrunner in the hands of Skylark, along with Stromanin on the Lina. So, last time around, they did run this Lina, but it was Spartan who was sort of handling it in a bit more of a position 5 role. So, interested to see if Stromanin gets maybe any more aggressive, playing the Lina in a sort of position 4 capacity this time. Actually, hold on. Okay. Nifty play there from RDO. Sneaks his way into that east side jungle. Will be able to snag an extra bounty rune. So, the level up will begin with a bit of an advantage there on the net worth front, as they do get 3 of those 4. They also managed to take down an Obs Ward as well, I believe, as DNZ did snipe that one out. So, 3 out of 4 bounties and a little bit of extra gold for the Observer Ward being taken away. Does get level up off to a, as we said, slight advantage here early on. As the laning stage will begin, we'll see exactly what this duo can do. Funnick, right now, just starting off with the Battle Hunger. Honestly, that's pretty standard stuff. Don't really see the Call or the Helix early, as you aren't really guaranteed to do much with it. So, Battle Hunger will be the sort of primary means of early harassment. Don't know if they're going to try to push Spartan out of lane early, or maybe try and hit up the Troll Warlord with it for some damage. If they go for the Troll, he's going to be able to get last hits fairly quickly to remove it. If they go for Spartan, he could probably just remove it with the Fortune's End onto himself. So, in either circumstance, you don't really have the greatest of targets to go in on with that harassment. But you at least have to give it a try. If you're going to force Spartan to use the Fortune's End onto himself or his teammate rather than use it aggressively, that is still going to count as, I would say, at least a slight benefit. As of right now, though, we're not really seeing the Battle Hunger being thrown out all that... There we go. Okay, all that quickly at all. As they do throw one onto Spartan. But the problem right now is that they're not really doing a whole lot to slow Focus down. The Troll Warlord's just going to sit in this lane and farm, and they're not exactly in a position where they can push him back just yet. Meanwhile, taking a look at the other side lane, how are we doing here? Skylark, 6 and 3, not too bad for him. RDO sitting at 5 and 1, so the lifesteal isn't exactly running away with this lane early on, but at a certain point, Skylark might want to be a little bit careful here. RDO is sort of chipping away at his HP, and there's only a salve on the Centaur. He would need to fall back long enough to actually pop that salve, as RDO is going to try and push his way forward. Not going to be able to get the kill, though. Skylark comes in with the Stomp that's going to prevent that chase from going any further, and Skylark will simply heal himself back up. So, yeah. Said he might have to be a little bit careful. As it turns out, Skylark was going to be just fine. Unless the Lifestealer had a point in the Rage, he wasn't really going to be able to avoid that Hoof Stomp stun, and as of right now, RDO does not have that Rage, and he might be sort of regretting that at this point, as he is going to get hit up by the Stomp again into the LSA, but LeBron's coming in with a Stomp of his own, locking down Skylark. Stromanin is going to be able to avoid that lockdown, though, so with the Lina still sort of firing away with the right clicks, LeBron and RDO don't want to go any further forward than that. So, a little bit of early skirmishing in this lane. Close call or two in terms of the health of these core heroes, but overall, no one has gone down just yet. But over in the top lane, Funnick is in a bit of a bad way here. Focus and Spartan are going to try to track him down. Not going to be able to get that kill just yet, though, as DNZ comes in with a pretty clutch play. Goes for the telekinesis, prevents them from chasing any further, and it looks like the Axe is going to be able to get himself out of the fight, but he's still out of the lane for a pretty substantial amount of time. He is at least going to be able to heal up with a salve from his teammate, but at this point, Funnick is just sort of losing too much here. You take a look at the last hit count for him. He's sitting at 8 last hits compared to Focus on 19 with that last hit there. So, pretty sizable discrepancy forming between those two, but Funnick, at this point, doesn't really have any sort of immediate solution. He is going to try to pull this creep wave with the Battle Hunger. That is going to be relatively helpful, but now he has to keep the aggro. That actually wasn't as big of a problem as I thought it was going to be. So, mind. Pulls the creep wave away. At this point, he's actually going to be able to catch up to the courier here for Spartan as well, or maybe he's not. There we go. Does bring the courier down. It's going to deliver its items out to Spartan first, though. Meanwhile, mid, Wish does end up getting taken down. I was following that chase for way too long. Missed the kill mid as Noob and DNZ push their way in onto Wish, able to lock down the Wind Ranger to find the first kill of the game. So, nicely done by LevelUP. The Rubik's able to make that rotation. Does take him out of that top lane for a little while, but Funnick is able to sort of maintain his distance and won't be punished with a potential 2v1 play. In fact, the 2v1 is actually going to come in LevelUP's favor as they try to push it onto Spartan. They hit him up with the Battle Hunger, but now Spartan with the quick reactions goes for the Purifying Flames to take out a creep, immediately removes that debuff, and walks away. So, not going to get himself caught out there just yet, as he is going to be able to survive. Meanwhile, Noob, where's he looking to go here? He's got the Dream Coil, so he could potentially make a rotation, or at this point, if the rotation actually comes his way instead, and they get someone like DNZ in again, they could simply go for another kill onto that Wind Ranger. Doesn't look like they're going to go for much of anything just yet. No rotations coming through. RDO, meanwhile, pushing his way onto Stromanen in that bottom lane. They were looking to get onto the Lina, but they don't quite have the lockdown to really guarantee themselves that kill. So, not going to be able to find much of anything now, and at this point, LeBron might actually be in some trouble. He's going to get hit up by the Hoof Stomp into the LSA, into the double edge, as the right clicks will chase him down, and LeBron will fall. Stromanen with his first kill of the game, first kill for Brame in total, and now RDO might be feeling the heat a little bit here as well. Stromanen hits him up with the LSA. Skylark goes for the double edge, but not the Hoof Stomp, because he doesn't quite have the mana for that secondary stun. So, RDO is going to be spared from another fight in that instance, but does end up losing his teammate. Elder Titan, really not that tanky. He does have a decent amount of health, but if heroes actually get directly in onto him, there's not a whole lot he could do there. Especially considering the fact that I believe he had already tried to use the Echo Stomp earlier on and didn't really have it available. So, not a great situation for him as he will be taken down. Meanwhile, over in the top lane, Funnick hit up by the Fortune's End, but Focus at this point doesn't really have the damage to go for that kill. He can sort of harass the Axe a little bit, but he's not really going to be able to go much further than that. Certainly doesn't want to dive the tier 1 tower, but he may not have a choice in terms of this fight. Nice play from DNZ coming in with the telekinesis. They TP the puck in here as well, and they will drop down the Dream Coil. At this point, Focus not level 6 yet, so he has no battle trance to keep himself alive. Spartan, obviously not level 6 either, so no false promise coming into play there to keep his teammate up and running as Focus will be taken down. Now Spartan should be dropping as well. Noob's just going to track him down under the tower. Spartan not dead just yet. Pops the Fairy Fire and a salve. Pops a second salve here as well, and somehow he's actually still not dead yet. But I don't think he's really going to be able to get away, or maybe he is. He's looking for the TP, and Noob actually has no way to cancel it. Okay. Meanwhile, Focus. Wow, that's a bold TP directly onto that tower with 3 enemy heroes around him, and he's actually going to pay for this pretty heavily. I don't understand what the play here was for Focus. He is almost certainly going to die. Noob needs to be able to hit him up with the orb, but he actually goes for the Waning Rift first, so he doesn't have the mana. He will have it now with the extra mana from that wand charge, but by this point, Focus is actually going to be too far away, and he can't get the kill. Not entirely sure how he missed on that one, but it is going to set up Brame for a bit of a return play here. As they jump in onto DNZ, they want both Noob and DNZ. They're going to have to pick one at this point. Otherwise, I'm not sure they're going to get much of anything, as DNZ will be the focus. They take him down first. Spartan still pushing his way forward. Doesn't have enough mana for the Fortune's End, but his teammates will be there to get the job done. Wish and Stromanen are there for the right-click damage, and they will find the kill onto the puck. David says, my Keck W was ready, but Troll did not die. Honestly, I don't understand that play. The Troll should have died there. Focus just straight up TPs onto 3 people like an absolute madman, but he lives. And his team wins the fight on top of that, so... It's one of those things, I don't know, in sort of traditional sports where you say a lot, it's like, just because the play works doesn't mean it wasn't an entirely stupid play. That really should not have worked for them. But I would not recommend having Focus do that again. As Skylark, what are you doing? Getting himself caught out, that's what he's doing, as he is going to be dropping low. DNZ comes in for the telekinesis. Stromanen, the effort is appreciated, but it's ultimately going to be not very useful. as he comes in there for an LSA and a Dragon Slave, but at that point, with 4 enemy heroes around his teammate, there's really not a lot Skylark was going to be able to do. So, it was worth a shot. Stramanen doesn't really put himself into any direct danger either, so he just sort of throws in some damage. Maybe it helps out Skylark. In that instance, it doesn't, but you don't really lose much by trying. But that is going to allow LevelUP to find the kill, tying us up at 3-3. Net worth starting to fluctuate a little bit here between the two squads as we come up on that 10-minute mark. So, a far cry from Game 1. At this point in that previous match, Brame had already sort of built up a 2K-ish net worth advantage. So, LevelUP sort of hanging tough with their opponents here so far. Uh-oh, hold on. What's going on here? LeBron wants to push his way forward onto Spartan, but this is going to get a little bit risky. Stramanen and Wish are in position to follow this one up, and yeah, Funnick is not in a great position here. He is going to get jumped in on, but well, he's at least able to find the kill onto Spartan there with the spins, but that's just not worth it. Funnick will go down. DNZ falls as well. LeBron's still in some trouble here. Can he actually get himself out? Maybe not by himself, but Noob is going to come to try and help this one out. Dropping down the Dream Coil onto 2. Stramanen will be taken down, and all of a sudden, Wish is fighting by himself. He needs to try and wait for reinforcements to arrive as Focus will make his way over, and now Noob, I don't really know if you want to be here. He's going to get hit up by the Shackle. Nice attempt from LeBron to go in for the Stomp. It does buy a little bit of time, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Noob should still be tracked down in the tree line. Spartan hits him up with the Fortune's End, and Focus comes in with those Whirling Axes to finish the job. So, Noob will be taken down. 3 dead on the side of LevelUP overall. Only 2 casualties for the side of Brame, and they're both supports that are going to be not really worth a crazy amount of money here. As Skylark, he's actually going to go back in. That was a mistake. Yeah, baited into it there. He thought he could get the kill into DNZ. RDO, though, hits his teammate up with the Infest for the bonus HP. Skylark will be taken down. Now Stramanen could be in some trouble as well. RDO, though, doesn't want to dive the tower any further. So they're going to be content with just that 1 kill, but it's a pretty damn good one. The Centaur, it's a little bit too greedy there. Thought he was going to be able to turn around, get that last bit of damage onto DNZ, but forgets that RDO can infest his teammate for 400 HP. An immediate sort of infusion of health for the Rubik as DNZ was able to survive and actually stole a level 1 double edge, excuse me. So maybe not that impressive after all. But at least DNZ is alive to steal anything at this point. So that's got to be the point if you're LevelUP. The fact that you don't give up that Rubik and you find yourself a pretty valuable kill onto a core hero. Hello132 says, orgasmic neutral item for Troll. Did he get the... Yeah, he did. He got the mask. Oh, man. Oh. Yeah. That's certainly going to increase the farm rate here as he can afford to just sort of sit back and heal himself up. His teammate, though, might not be in the same situation. Skylark respawns and immediately gets jumped in on again, but he does have the Stampede, so if he can live long enough, he should be able to get himself out of here, but he's going to get silenced up here as well by the Waning Rift, but there's not enough damage out from LevelUP to finish this fight. So it looks like at this point, no Stampede will be used, and everyone's just going to go their separate ways. That can't be how this ends. There's 4 heroes from each side in this top lane, and that's all that we're going to get out of it. Or maybe not. Hold on. Skylark in trouble again. Silenced up a second time. Going to try to get himself away, but the Stomp will actually lock him down. So he's not going to be able to get himself out just yet, but he's holding the Stampede. Doesn't want to commit just yet, knowing that they have a bigger opportunity as long as he can hold it. But at this point, things are starting to fall apart. Focus is going to get hit up here by the False Promise to try and keep him alive. Skylark still holding that Stampede. They really, truly do not want to commit it. They know the second that they do, they have to either commit for the fight entirely or back themselves away. So okay. That is far more patience than I think you probably should have expected from Skylark, but he is not going to commit the ult. Now he might be in some trouble as he is going to get lifted up into the Earth Splitter, and that might just be the end for Skylark as he will be taken down. Did have some stick charges, but went in for the Hoof Stomp instead, and not going to be able to survive as LeBron will get the kill, and the 2 supports for LevelUP able to put together a pretty solid pick-off there. So, Skylark was able to dodge the bullet the first time around, sticks in that top lane hoping for a little bit more farm as he's working his way towards that blink, and unfortunately, he does end up getting punished for it. So, LevelUP able to find themselves the kill. Still not really jumping out to any sort of massive advantage here. They do have the lead at the time, or at the moment, excuse me, as they're up to just about 1k in terms of that net worth advantage, but Gonna need a little bit more to sort of keep pushing that lead forward. But at least for now, this is really the largest lead we've seen. At least net worth-wise. Experience-wise, we're not quite up to that previous high water mark, but it's a bit over 1K in LevelUP's favor on that front too. So, certainly better than they were doing in Game 1 for this point in the match. However, that could change. As we see Brame pushing their way onto the Tier 1 tower down bot. Focus and Skylark going to go after this objective. Should be able to get this with very little in the way of resistance. LevelUP really don't bring anyone there to defend it. So, tower will end up falling, but over on the other side of the map, we see LevelUP looking for a tower of their own. So this could turn into a bit of a trade-off. Funnick, meanwhile, waiting in the wings, looking to jump in. They're going to get the taunt down onto Stromanin. The Lina should be taken down fairly quickly, and no one else on the side of Brame was really in position to push their way forward at that point. So the Lina will simply be sacrificed. Focus, though, does actually get himself the Battle Fury while all of that is going on. So his farming rate is going to take a rather significant step forward, but for right now, he needs to be a little bit more concerned with just straight up keeping himself alive. This is all 5 of LevelUP's heroes pushing their way into the jungle, as they are going to try to get in onto him. Noob, not able to connect with the Waning Rift, but his teammates at this point actually don't really care much about the fight. They would rather go to try and steal this stacked camp, and they are going to actually take most of this away from Brame. But at this point, Focus doesn't want to lose this farm for nothing. He is going to try to push his way in, but his teammates will get caught out on the backside. Spartan dropping low, not going to go down just yet, as he will hit himself up with the false promise, and now they're going to try and turn this one around. They've already taken down DNZ. They want to get onto the puck as well, but Noob is going to be able to jump himself away. So instead, they will turn their attention onto Funnick. Skylark TPs himself in, going to try to track down the axe, and oh, okay, no hoof stomp. Wow. Still had it on cooldown there, so he is unable to actually prevent Funnick from getting away, and at that point, Brame kind of missing out on a bit of an opportunity there. They lose the stacked camp, they get 1 kill onto DNZ, but that's really not going to be enough to make up for what they lost there. So, nicely done by LevelUP. They steal the Ancient Stack. They don't entirely avoid casualties, but they're at least able to sort of mitigate those losses, only sacrificing DNZ's Rubik. And that is going to help them push that net worth lead. Just past 2K here, 16 minutes in. So, the roles have been slightly reversed here compared to Game 1. It's not quite the sort of 8K lead that Brame were working with in that previous match, but momentum favors LevelUP at the moment. As Funnick wants to go in onto Wish. Does he have the damage for this by himself? Not entirely sure. They're going to give it a go. Jumping in onto the Wind Ranger. Spins coming through. Telekinesis will be there as well. Into the Culling Blade, as Funnick will find the kill. Could he get the kill by himself? Probably not, but DNZ's there to help him out, and they've got more than enough damage between the two of them to find that pick. So, Wind Ranger taken down. Nice play from LevelUP to find that kill. Now, how much more can they find in terms of... Excuse me. How much more can they find in terms of farm for these core heroes? As of right now, all 3 of them are sitting in the top 4, but everyone is currently sort of trailing behind that Troll Warlord. So, that is going to be a concern for them moving forward. If they can maintain this current sort of posture, in which all 3 of their cores are ahead of basically everyone other than the Troll Warlord, then I think they still have the teamfight capacity to sort of take these engagements and maintain a lead. But they do have to be wary of the Troll, as they are going to jump their way in. Spartan going to get taken down, so the false promise has already been taken away. The Battle Trance, though, is still available, and the Troll will activate it here. Pushing his way in onto LeBron. Does he have the damage for the kill? Yes, he does. They're going to turn their attention now onto Funnick. Spins are coming through for a little bit of bonus damage here, and Focus at this point, yep, that's a problem. Ends up just sort of accidentally killing himself there, as that Battle Trance does wear off, but not quite fast enough. He drops low to the spins. Funnick is able to get the kill with the Culling Blade, but he will be taken down almost immediately afterwards. So, if you're LevelUP, you are still suffering some serious casualties here, and it looks like they're not done losing heroes. DNZ going to get himself caught out here in that tree line as well. Tries to buy time with Telekinesis, but it's not going to do him any good. Wish comes in with the power shot to finish the job. DNZ will be taken down. So overall, 4 heroes dead on the side of LevelUP. They lose the puck, the axe, and both of their supports, but RDO, over on the other side of the map, is at least able to find some sort of kill in exchange. He will pick off Spartan. 3 or 4 man tip coming out onto him as well in the aftermath of that kill, but I'm not really sure that that extra kill onto the Oracle is really going to be enough to outweigh what they lose in that situation. Although, at this point, taking a look at the net worth, they are still ahead by about 2K, but we see things dipping back down a little bit in the aftermath of that fight. So, LevelUP had been enjoying a bit of a surge as we sort of push towards that 20-minute mark, but this could be an indication that Brame are, well, not quite pushing back to even just yet, but a little bit more, I would say, willing to push into these engagements and a little bit better prepared to deal with those fights as well. So, if you're level up, you do have to be a little bit cautious here. Don't really want to make too many mistakes as they need to maintain this lead. They'll push their way into the Roche pit. Actually looking to get themselves the Aegis onto, presumably, RDO. They will push their way in. Getting through this relatively quickly, actually, all things considered. They've got a little bit of armor reduction. They've got Funnick there to just sort of stand in the front line and tank up the damage. And no one from the side of Brame is really moving over to contest this. I'm not even really sure that they know it's happening, but either way, it's already too late. Roshan will be going down. RDO is going to take the Aegis, and not only does he get the Aegis into his hands, he just got his halberd delivered out to him as well. So that halberd is going to be absolutely massive for the Lifestealer, dealing with both the Wind Ranger and the Troll Warlord. Well, I say and, it's really going to be or in that situation. Can't exactly throw it out onto both, but if you take away the right-click ability from either of those heroes, it is going to put LevelUP in general in a much stronger position. As Spartan, that's not where you want to be. He's going to get himself caught out in the jungle. Skylark, though, does come in for the hoof stomp immediately afterwards, and now RDO is a little bit low on HP. He's going to be forced to infest into his teammate, as Funnick will try to get the Lifestealer out of here, but at this point, actually, he wants to go back in, going for the taunt into the Earth Splitter. Jesus. As Focus and Skylark taken down, no Spartan there to sort of bail either of them out with the False Promise, and that is going to go horribly for the side of Brame. They walk directly into that trap, and LevelUP just completely saw that play coming. They knew exactly what Brame were going to do. RDO infests into his teammate. Funnick, rather than just immediately backing out, thinks this is an opportunity. If Brame are going to group up and chase after us, hops back in, goes for the taunt, into the Infest Bomb, into the Earth Splitter, and Brame just did not see it coming.
What a surprise.
Of course, yeah, I say they didn't see it coming. Not entirely sure you can predict that play. Obviously, we saw it all develop in real time, but we have full vision of the map, and Brame does not. So, they thought that they had caught their opponents on the back foot. That LevelUP were falling back. They have no vision in this area. All the obs wards here, and sentries for that matter, belonging to LevelUP. So they had no idea there were another 3 heroes sort of hanging out to the south, waiting to jump in on them. But then again, they don't have the vision that tells them those opponents are there, but that might just have been an incentive for them to not push in the first place. You have no vision of that area, you don't know where the rest of the LevelUP lineup is, but you choose to sort of chase after that potential kill anyway. So I don't know. The excuse, quote-unquote, you would use for Brame there is also maybe more of a reason for them to have not gone forward in the first place.
Get off my lawn.
But what's done is done. Brame end up losing that fight. LevelUP will jump out to the largest net worth lead of the game here at a bit over 5k, as we do get the match back underway. Pause comes to an end, and LevelUP are actually going to look for another kill. Spartan, that's... well, it's a bit of a mistake. He's not going to die for it, presumably, as long as he continues to heal himself up here, but that is going to put the False Promise on cooldown for 2 minutes in a situation where Spartan really didn't have much business being there in the first place. So, resources being expended by the side of Brame, and at this point, if you're LevelUP, I don't really know that you need to be all that afraid of your opponents at this stage. You're still holding on to the Aegis on the Lifestealer, so they can afford to play maybe a little bit more aggressively, a bit more recklessly than they otherwise would. Although, well, rather than playing maybe more recklessly, they're actually sort of being a bit more prudent here, pushing their way into the top lane, looking for the tier 2 tower. So, rather than use the Aegis to try and force another fight that they could potentially lose, they're just going to secure some objectives, try and take further control of the map. So, it's almost certainly the smarter move here for the side of LevelUP, but the temptation to try and push their way into the fight seemed pretty damn strong, and now we may see them actually still pursue that fight. They're going to smoke their way towards the middle lane. Unfortunately for them, there's no one here immediately, so they'd have to go a little bit further to the east if they actually want some sort of fight. Funnick is pushing in that direction, but I don't think he's going to find anybody by the time this smoke actually wears off. So, not quite what they were looking for here with the smoke play. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, Brame looking to get some items for themselves. Focus Able to get himself the Sanjin Yasha for a little bit more in the way of damage and durability. Wish, meanwhile, grabbed a BKB just a moment or two ago, so durability and magic immunity for the Wind Ranger. Meanwhile, for Skylark, he is... well, he's working his way towards an Aghanim Scepter. He's maybe halfway there right now, but I don't really think this is an item he's going to be able to pick up before this next fight. He needs another 2k-ish gold to finish that one off. So, if this were someone like Focus or Wish, then maybe... oh, God. Maybe you could see him getting 2k gold before a fight, but with the center having a bit of a lower farming priority, not really sure that's going to work out. As Noob, that is a very aggressive jump forward. Just trying to get right in onto Wish as they're going to try to lock the Wind Ranger down, but the BKB will be deployed. Shackle comes in as well. He's going to turn around for the power shot, but he really, can't afford to stick around for that long as he is going to get hit up by that taunt, and Wish will be taken down. It's just a mistake. I was trying to find some sort of more polite way to say it, but if you're Wind Ranger in that situation, you know you have yet to see Funnick in the fight. You pop the BKB. You need to just get the hell away from that fight as quickly as possible while you still have the magic immunity to work with. Instead, he turns around to try and go for the damage, and he will be punished for it, and now Brame are not in a position to take any sort of follow-up fight. Spartan's been taken down. Skylark's going to get taunted up and finished off by the Culling Blade, and LevelUP will just march their way forward. They find 3 kills in that engagement. They're going to be free to push their way onto the Tier 2 tower mid, and honestly, even after they take this Tier 2, they may still have a bit of an opening to go for damage onto the Tier 3 too. Skylark's not up for 25 more seconds, 10 seconds left for the Oracle. The Wind Ranger is going to be back in, but I don't know how much the Wind Ranger is going to be willing to do all by herself here to try and stop this push. So, LevelUP will try to make their way forward. Tier 3 tower already losing quite a bit of its HP. However, over in the bottom lane, they see a far more valuable target. They're going to try to jump in onto Focus. This Troll Warlord is entirely alone here. He is going to pop the Battle Trance, though, trying to find some sort of kill, but Battle Trance does not beat Culling Blade. Funnick does not care about that ult. Battle Trance, False Promise, Shallow Grave, doesn't matter. Funnick with the Culling Blade is still going to be able to find the kill. So, not a fun time there for the Troll. Focus gets caught out alone in the bottom lane. He will be taken down, and LevelUP at this point really starting to pull away in this one. I mentioned earlier on this was looking like a bit of a role reversal of the previous match, but it is really kind of eerily similar. The timing is maybe a little bit different. By this point, Game 1 had already come to an end, but the overall sort of pace and dynamic of this game, very similar to Game 1, but Brame on the wrong side of things this time around. 9,000 net worth behind, experience-wise even further behind, about 12 or 13k on that front, and win probability for the side of LevelUP sitting at just under 90% here, 89 for them at the moment. So they are feeling incredibly strong right now. Did mention earlier on, though, it should still be a concern for them, the farm on Focus. This Troll Warlord is really going to be probably the best means for Brame to try and get themselves back into the game. So they're going to try to buy as much time as possible for him, try to get as much farm for him as well, and if you're LevelUP, I don't think you need to be immediately worried about the Troll Warlord, but if this game goes on for another maybe 10, 15 minutes, something along those lines, then a late game Troll Warlord is going to be some cause for concern. So if you're LevelUP, you don't need to panic. You don't need to go for the first potential fight that comes your way or really try to force any sort of high ground attempts here, but they need to be trying to secure more control of the map right now. Make sure Focus isn't going to be able to sort of turn into that late game monstrosity that could give them some issues. So, not too aggressive, but at least sort of aggro enough to maintain this advantage needs to be the play from LevelUP. Need to try and keep the pace going here as they will jump their way onto the Troll Warlord. Will there be a defensive play from Spartan? Yeah, well, there is, but it doesn't matter. False Promise comes out, but the Culling Blade is still there for the kill. Focus taken down, Shaman and dead as well. Spartan just going to try and hide here, but the taunt is going to lock him down. He will fall. This is turning into a pretty rough fight for the side of Brame as they've already lost 3. Wish is on the run, though. Trying to get himself out of here. Can he actually escape, though? Noob is continuing to chase after him. Needs to wait for the Wind Run to be back up, but by the time he gets it back up, the telekinesis will be there from DNZ. The Wind Ranger gets locked down, and LevelUP will find the kill. So, 4 heroes dead on the side of Brame. They are pretty limited in terms of buybacks right now. There's one on Wish, and there's one on Skylark. Skylark obviously not dead at the moment, but not really in position to defend his base here either. He has a TP scroll, but he has yet to use it. So LevelUP are just going to push their way forward. This push will momentarily be sort of slowed down by the glyph, but as soon as that glyph wears off, RDO's just going to keep on going. Tier 3 tower taken down, but Brame are beginning to get heroes back up and running, so LevelUP are going to show a bit of respect to the potential damage from their opponents. Not entirely sure that was necessary, but better safe than sorry if you're LevelUP in this circumstance. They get the tier 3 tower, they fall back, they don't really lose much themselves. Push the net worth lead past the 12k mark, and now if you're Skylark, this is your cue to leave. LevelUP have now backed away from the base. He needs to get himself out of here as he will TP himself away, but at this point, LevelUP don't really care much about chasing after a Centaur kill. They would rather go in for Roshan. Aegis Cheese and the Aghanim Shard all available. Not really sure if they give this to the Axe or the Life Stealer in terms of the Shard. The Open Wounds would be pretty damn useful, but Funnick's damage output with the Counter Helix upgrade would be pretty solid as well, and they do actually give it to him. So Counter Helix now can proc on Axe's right clicks, gets him a little bit of extra attack speed, proc chance increases, and generally speaking, this just makes Funnick incredibly more dangerous. Speaking of dangerous, Spartan able to actually pop that smoke and not immediately punished for it. That is kind of remarkable. Okay. Good play from Spartan. They're sort of breaking up that gank attempt. No one for LevelUP to really jump in on, as they don't really get much of anything for that. However, Funnick is still looking. Pushing his way across the map. He's got the Life Stealer infested inside of him with an Aegis to work with as well, and yeah, they're just going to go right in onto Stone Mountain, locking him down immediately. Funnick looking for another opportunity here as he's going to try to catch up to Focus. Can they actually get him, though? Not yet. Stampede will be popped defensively. Focus is trying to get himself away. Funnick, though, has the blink back up in a few more seconds, but he doesn't actually want to chase that far forward. So they're not going to get baited into that one. Instead, they'll actually TP their way back up to the top lane where Spartan is... yeah, he's dead. Tries to hide in the Glimmer Cape. Not exactly going to work out for him as he will be taken down. However, he does provide enough of a distraction to get Skylark back over onto his own side. So Centaur will be TPing home. He finishes off the Aghanim Scepter play. So that Stampede is now going to be a little bit better with that damage reduction. But at this point, I don't know if that's going to be enough. They've got the damage reduction from the Ags. Wish has got a BKB. I think Focus just finished one off himself. So maybe with the damage reduction and 2 BKBs on their core heroes, they could take this next fight, but by the time they actually get themselves into position to take that fight, they're going to lose the entirety of this middle lane of Rax. Range has been taken down already, melee Rax is dropping as well, and LevelUP are just going to clear it out and then back off. Really not seeing LevelUP sort of getting baited into any of these engagements. They are playing incredibly, I would say at this point, sort of cautiously. Not overly so, to the point where they're not going after sort of tower pushes, but they're not really being baited into situations where they could overextend. If they see a chance for a kill, they're certainly willing to sort of chase after it, but they won't go too far. Not willing to overextend themselves, and it's been working out pretty damn well for them. You see the results, 18k ahead, and now looking for a second lane of Rax. But while they push that one out, we do see a wraparound play coming together for Brame. What can they really do here? To find the right target, but that's a problem. Dream Coil comes down, connecting onto 3. Stampede, though, will be used, but it's not really going fantastically for them at the moment, but Wish does manage to get onto the backline. He's going to lock down LeBron with the Shackle. Doesn't have the damage to actually finish him off just yet, but eventually they will find that kill. The problem is, well, their own heroes are falling too low in exchange. As Focus is going to be able to pop the Battle Trance that keeps him alive for the time being, but it's just not going to be enough. It's just not going to matter. GG will be called as Brame sort of see their final teamfight attempt fall apart. Unable to really secure the key kills that they needed as they get really the Elder Titan and not much else. And at that point, they will concede defeat. The GG will be called and LevelUP will successfully tie up the series at 1-1. So if you're Brame, you really felt like you were pushed into desperation mode there. They go for one final teamfight attempt, hoping maybe we can sneak up from behind with this 5-man smoke play, make something happen, but they really just didn't have a whole lot to work with there. Their damage output wasn't as high as it needed to be, and the sort of defensive capabilities really just don't work against the Axe. False Promise does not matter. Battle Trance isn't going to matter if you drop low enough. and you're in that threshold, the Culling Blade will kill you no matter what. So, fantastic pick there from LevelUP to actually take that axe, as we'll actually look at the scoreboard in just a moment. But first, want to get through the graph here. This is a relatively straightforward one, actually. It was a little bit back and forth through the first maybe 10 to 12 minutes as we saw the lead sort of exchanged multiple times between the two squads, but the further we pushed into the map, the more and more LevelUP were sort of pushing that advantage. Funnick over and over again, getting in there with that early Blink Dagger. He actually had it, there we go, well, just shy of 14 minutes, but you do have to consider the fact that he actually went for the Vanguard first. So, 8-minute Vanguard, 13.5-minute Blink Dagger, pretty damn good for a Position 3 axe. And we can take a look at the actual stat line for him. This is exactly what you want. When you take the axe, this is the kind of performance that you're sort of dreaming of getting. 13, 2, and 10 for him. Damage-wise, still pretty high up there. 17,500 for that axe. So, incredible stuff from Funnick. RDO, meanwhile, with the 0-death performance on the Lifestealer, 8, 0, and 11. Noob, honestly, kind of the low man here, but he does incredibly well himself. 5, 3, and 17 on the puck. We saw some incredible Dream Coils connecting onto 2 or 3 heroes at a time in those engagements. So, he gets a little bit overshadowed by some even better performances from his teammates, but really, across the board here, LevelUP were able to respond almost perfectly to that initial defeat. So, very little going wrong for them, and honestly, as I said before, that axe pick just perfect to deal with what Brame had put together. The False Promise was no longer effective. The Battle Trance from focus didn't really help him out much either. And we can see death count's kind of high here. 0 and 9 for the Oracle, 2 and 6 for focus on the Troll. So not a whole lot of durability for Brame's lineup. Skylark in particular really just suffered throughout the entirety of that match. So Brame don't really get a whole lot going for themselves there. They fall behind really at the end of the laning stage and just really never managed to recover. They were trying for quite a while to buy some time for that Troll Warlord. Once he had the Battle Fury, he could theoretically catch up to some of the cores on the side of LevelUP, but in reality, he was not able to sort of find that space that he needed, and when it came down to those fights, there was just too much lockdown and too much damage on the LevelUP side for him to really fight his way through it. So, impressive victory for LevelUP. We have now broken the curse. As Dante says, the curse of the 2-game series is ended. We will have a Game 3, which prior to this point had been a foreign concept. Every series on... blah, 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 blah. Let me try that one again. Every series on day 1 had ended in a 2-0 sweep. This time, we will be getting a third match. The question at this point is, though, what can we expect from Game 3? We've now seen each squad put together some pretty dominant performances. Brame completely in control there in Game 1. LevelUP, the clear leader for the vast majority of Game 2. So, do we look at LevelUP as the team with the hot hand here, riding the momentum from this Game 2 victory into Game 3? Or will Brame be able to sort of go back to the drawing board, recapture that sort of form that they had in Game 1, try and retake control of the series? Not entirely sure at the moment, but either way, Game 3 should be a pretty entertaining one, as we will head into a bit of a break here while we wait for that third and final match to get started. So, first Game 3 of the group stage here. Will it be Brame or LevelUP who walk away with the series win? I'll have to wait and find out. So, Game 3 draft should be coming your way in just a couple of minutes. In the meantime, though, we will take a short break. I'll throw the music back on. We will see what that final match has in store. Alright, there we go. Hello everybody. Welcome back to the Pinnacle Cup group stage. We are still in our first series of the day, despite the fact that 2 matches have been played. It is not normal, based on what we had seen before, but this is actually going to be a series that goes a full 3 games. It hadn't happened before. All 3 of the series yesterday ended in 2-0 sweeps, but LevelUP were able to extend this one out. They lost game 1, as Brame were able to put together a pretty one-sided performance to open the series, but LevelUP turned the tables on their opponent, put together a fantastic performance there in game 2 to tie us up. And now, here we are, in game 3 for the first time in this group stage. We'll see whether it's going to be LevelUP notching back-to-back wins, or if Brame can re-establish control to try and get themselves back on the right track, take that 2-1 victory for themselves. We do move into that Game 3 draft pretty quickly here. LevelUP starting us off with bans against Elder Titan as well as Centaur Warrunner. So, same 2 bans that we saw from them back in Game 1. Excuse me. So, same 2 bans that we saw from them in Game 1. First pick from them on the way. Meanwhile, for Brame, Snapfire and Lifestealer going to be banned out here before they take the Lina with their first pick. So they've gone in for that first pick Lina really in every match so far, and it's a trend that's not exactly going to be broken for them in this 3rd match. So Lina picked up once again. LevelUP, meanwhile, will take the Rubik for themselves. DNZ honestly did pretty damn well on that Rubik in that 2nd match. So don't know if it's going to be him on the hero again, or if maybe LeBron would play it in more of a position 4 role, but either way, they will be running it back with the Rubik. Question is, what else do they take here in round 1? Do they go for the core? Yes, they do, and it will be the puck pick coming out for them again. So, Noob played it pretty well in game 1. Mentioned in the sort of post-match discussion there that he was sort of overshadowed a bit by the performances from RDO and Funnick, and technically speaking, I would still say that was true, but the puck still came in with a stat line of, I think it was 5-3 and 17 in that match, so very impressive showing from Noob. Hopefully for LevelUp's sake, they can get a similar showing from the puck here in this 3rd match. Brame, though, looking for a bit of a different matchup in that middle lane. They ran Wish against the puck in game 2. They'll go for the Ember Spirit with their 2nd pick now in phase 1. So both sides looking at some early mid picks, presumably. Don't really know that the puck or the Ember could realistically lane anywhere else. I suppose technically speaking you could put the puck into the off lane and it could still work out, but really at this point we don't see that all that often. If you take the puck, it's pretty much going mid every single time. So we'll see how the puck versus Earth Spirit, or excuse me, Ember Spirit matchup plays out. In the meantime, though, moving into the 2nd phase of the bans, we have seen Brame really sort of mix things up in terms of phase 2 bans in the previous matches. They went for supports and the lone sort of carry ban of the Juggernaut in game 1. In game 2, it was almost exclusively focused on the offlane position. So, haven't really seen them stick to any strategy in particular, and this time around, they do start off with another sort of emphasis on support bans as they take away the Warlock. LevelUP, meanwhile, go in for the removal of the Mars to start us off. I think that's actually the first time. Yes, it is. That's the first time the Mars has been banned out this series. So, normally he's a pretty popular option, both as sort of a mid or an off-lane hero, but he hadn't been banned out in any of the matches prior to this point, and neither side had really gone for him, though, and now he is no longer available. So, a little bit strange to not see the Mars, even when he's sort of still in the pool. But no Mars here in Game 3. As we shift things back over to Brame, and they will use their 2nd ban of Phase 2 on the Morphling. So, the Morphling had been banned out in each of the previous 2 matches. It was LevelUP, though, who had been removing the Morphling previously, but this time Brame deciding that's really not a hero that they want to sort of let slip through the cracks, so Morphling will be banned out for the 3rd straight match, while LevelUP will actually shift away from the offlane, now focusing a bit more on the middle lane with the ban on the Templar Assassin. So I don't know if they are thinking this Ember could be basically either a carry in that instance or a position for support. Really the only two other places I could see him going if they're not looking at him as a mid option. And if you're not looking at the Ember as a mid option, or if you are looking at him as a mid option, excuse me, I don't know why you would then ban out the Templar Assassin unless, well, maybe they're thinking that Focus would play the TA at the position 1 role. Either way, it looks a little bit weird for them. But Level Up were concerned, so why not? They ban out the TA, they follow it up with the removal of the Phantom Lancer before going for the Vengeful Spirit with that third pick. Meanwhile, for the side of Brame, they close out their Phase 2 bans with the removal of the Axe. That's, generally speaking, probably a good idea. We saw what Funnick was able to do on that hero in the previous game. 12 kills and I think just 2 or 3 deaths in that match. So he was able to farm well. He got that Vanguard Blink combo in less than 14 minutes and just sort of wreaked havoc on the Brame lineup for the rest of the match. So not something Brame want to have to deal with again. The Axe has to be removed. And now we'll see what it is they have planned for their third selection. Could honestly keep it pretty simple here. Just go for some sort of second support. We saw them try the Oracle in Game 2, obviously with the Axe on the other side. That Oracle was not overly successful, but the Axe has now been removed, and throw maybe Spartan onto the Oracle there. He should presumably have a little bit more, I would say, consistency with some of those defensive abilities. Have to wait and see, though, exactly what Brame have planned. In terms of other options, they ran the Lina and the Pugna as a support duo in Game 1.
It's looking spicy. It's looking spicy.
They could try for that again. Not entirely sure how effective it would be. But, oh. Could certainly try for it, but it looks like instead Brame are going to pick up the Nyx Assassin with the third pick. So, switching things back up again. In Game 2, the Lina was at the sort of position 4 role. It looks like this time they are going to be swinging her back to the position 5 position. Or, I think I misspoke there. Position 4 in Game 2, swinging her back to the position 5 role the way that they did in Game 1. So, well, I don't know. Between Lina and Nyx Assassin, there is there is a nice bit of sort of lockdown for Brame to work with. Now they need the damage to follow it up, and that is certainly going to be a high damage option. The Medusa coming out for the side of Brame, while LevelUP opted for the Gyrocopter with their fourth pick. So, carry options on the board here for both sides. Some pretty fantastic farming heroes, although I don't know. If this goes into that sort of late game stage, I feel like the Medusa may have a bit of an advantage over the Gyro. So, might be a situation where LevelUP honestly might look to sort of shift the build for the Gyrocopter. A lot of the time we see a sort of Aghanim Scepter play for him, but wouldn't be surprised if in this instance they go for maybe just something like a Maelstrom into an early BKB for the Gyro, start getting him fighting earlier on before the Medusa is really ready to match up with him toe-to-toe, and then see if you can sort of get an edge that way. But the only downside of that is, if the Gyrocopter goes for that kind of build, that is going to slightly sort of tank his ability to sort of transition into more damage for a late game scenario. So, if you go for the earlier sort of timing, yes, you can get an advantage on that front, but if you don't definitively take control there, then you set yourself up for a bit of a weaker play into the late game stage. So, a bit of risk attached to that, but the rewards could potentially outweigh it. It's going to depend on exactly what LevelUP want to do here. For now, though, when we do move into the final phase of the bans, both sides focusing on that off-lane position. Brame banning away the duo of Pangolier and Viper, while LevelUP remove Timbersaw and Legion Commander. So, Centaur's gone, ET gone, Mars, Timber, Legion Commander all removed from the pool. Axe, Pango, and Viper have been banned out as well, so really, we are missing quite a few of those more popular options. If Brame are just looking for sort of durability and some control, something like the Underlord is still available for them. They want to go maybe a bit unconventional, they could maybe try for something like the Venomancer play. Not really sure I like that, though, and apparently Brame don't really like it either. They go simple, and they go for the Underlord. So, damage-wise, not really sure how much you're going to be looking at that Underlord as a viable option. Maybe if the Atrophy Aura starts sort of ticking up there pretty significantly, he can do some work, but for the most part, the Underlord's focus is going to be on durability and lockdown with that Pit of Malice. So, should see that as the emphasis for him, should see the itemization really just sort of key in on more durability for himself and his teammates. Which honestly makes sense. You have the Medusa and the Ember Spirit to handle the damage front, so the Underlord really doesn't have to be called upon to do anything other than just tank up and serve as that frontline shield. So, not a bad choice for Brame. Meanwhile, for LevelUP, what exactly do they look for here? We were already talking about the fact that offlane options were somewhat limited. Talked about the Venomancer play for Brame. I guess technically LevelUP could try it too, but given the amount of lockdown that Brame sort of have in their lineup, I don't know if that Venom would be safe in the vast majority of situations. So, doesn't seem like a great idea there. I'm thinking about maybe whether they want to try something like the Night Stalker at this point. That doesn't really feel great either, though. What else is there? Something like the Necro, maybe, for LevelUP. Give them a little bit more in the way of sort of sustainability with a Necro play. In a similar vein, they could go for maybe a DP in that position 3 role as well. Or, if they're truly trying to think maybe a little outside of the box, the offlane Dragon Knight could still be an option for them as well. Doesn't feel great, but you need a sort of tanky frontline fighter, someone that's got a little bit of lockdown as well. The DK does sort of fit the bill there. Ooh. Huh. Okay, well that's really not any of the options that I had been previously sort of talking about, as the Omni will be the call for the side of LevelUP. Okay. Not really sure what to expect from that Omni Knight. Obviously, you've got a little bit more in the way of sort of sustainability with the heal. Guardian Angel going to be relatively useful for them as well, but I don't know. This Omni really doesn't make too many appearances in the sort of current meta, and I feel like for the most part that is kind of for good reason. So, there might be some potential here for Funnick on the hero, but it feels like his contributions may not be consistent, or at least not consistent enough for LevelUP. Meanwhile, for Brame, the strategy seems relatively straightforward here. If Focus can farm, if they can build the Medusa up, they are going to be in a pretty fantastic situation for themselves later on down the line. So, I think I'm going to go with Brame prediction-wise. It doesn't feel quite as good this time around, but we'll go with it anyway. We got a bit of faith in that Medusa. Not sure that LevelUP are going to be able to apply the pressure to her that they would need to really prevent Focus from finding that farm. But we'll see how things play out here. Very interested to see exactly what that Omni Knight does in the early stages of this match. We do get Game 3 underway. Third and final match of the series here. We'll see which of the two squads will be able to sort of walk away with that victory. As we do get things started, we'll take a look at the lineups for the two squads, beginning with LevelUP once again on the Radiant half of the map. They've played on this side in all 3 games. Take a look at what they're running here. It's going to be RDO on the Gyrocopter, should be making his way down to that bottom lane. Middle lane, we've got Noob on the Puck. Up in the top lane, bit of a trio for now, as we see Funnick on the Omni Knight, along with LeBron on the Vengeful Spirit, and DNZ once again going to be playing that Rubik. Meanwhile, for the side of Brame, they've got the Medusa headed up to the top lane here in the hands of Focus. Middle lane, we'll be seeing Wish on the Ember Spirit. Down bot, it is going to be Skylark on the Underlord, along with Spartan on the Lina. Rounding out the lineup for them in that position 4 role will be Stromanen on the Nyx Assassin. Said Nyx currently actually making his way down bot, so... Well, okay, never mind. He was for a moment. He's sort of thinking about it now, so... Not entirely sure who they actually want to put with the Medusa there. Spartan, in most cases, would be the one you would sort of assume would hold down that position, but... hasn't moved into that sort of role just yet, as Yeah, Wish. Decent attempt there. Sort of faking out his own right clicks onto the observer ward, trying to sort of at least act like he was in a position to deny it, but the level up weren't going to let that one happen. They push forward, they will take the obs ward down, and that is going to be a nice little bit of extra gold for them. The bounty runes, though, do go 2 to each side, so overall things will still start out relatively even as we follow LeBron on his way to the bottom lane. So, we do get an answer to the question I was asking earlier on about who was going to lane them with the Medusa. It's actually Spartan down bot with the Nyx Assassin up top. So, I don't know. Either way, you are going to be able to get a little bit of extra harassment in onto RDO. As Spartan making his way forward, doesn't want to go for the LSA just yet. They would like to have vision on LeBron before they go in first, and we'll now see him over to the side there as he does throw out that Wave of Terror. With the Wave of Terror now, they should know that he doesn't have the magic missile to work with, so without that stun, LeBron might not have the sort of defensive capabilities that he would prefer early on here, but they are going to try to go down to Skylark anyway, hitting him up with the homing missile into that wave, so Skylark is taking a little bit of early damage. Spartan tries to come in with the LSA, but he will miss with that stun. So, bit of a missed opportunity there as the Lina will not be able to connect. And RDO, to this point, farming, I'd say relatively well. We're all of 90 seconds into the match, so kind of hard to really look at anyone as having won or lost this lane, but he's not really getting bullied out of it just yet, although his teammate not really able to say the same. LeBron is dropping pretty damn low here, but RDO comes in with the homing missile connecting onto Skylark. They're not going to be able to push any further forward, but a nice bit of early damage being exchanged. Salves coming out on both sides as everyone will simply heal themselves up. And just about all of that early damage is just going to be sort of removed for both teams. Meanwhile, up in the top lane, how is Focus doing here so far? 8-2 for the Medusa. Funnick, not too far behind. 7 lasts on the board here for the Omni Knight. So, are they doing a whole lot to slow the Medusa down through the first couple of minutes? No, not really, but at least Funnick is finding something for himself, occasionally throwing out the Purification there for last hits, and for some damage onto the Medusa. The pure damage from that Purification is going to be nice for a little bit of harassment. Don't really know if it sets them up for any kind of kill potential, but they're at least free to try, and maybe under the right circumstances, to get the Telekinesis into a Purification play, as they're going to try to do so right now. Funnick, though, is waiting to go for the stick charges. Not enough damage, though, with the Purification to find the kill, but Shamanin is still getting slowed up by that aura, and he is not going to be able to survive. So, Shamanin will fall. Focus looking for a bit of a return kill, though, as DNZ is dangerously low on health. But I don't think Focus is actually going to be able to get this. Maybe if the snake bounces, but he's not actually going to throw that Mystic Snake out there at all. So, LevelUP able to draw first blood there, as they do take down the Nyx Assassin. Do have to chase under the tower for it, but they will be able to secure the kill. Meanwhile, over on the other side of the map, RDO on the run a little bit here, as he was forced to sort of pull himself into that tree line to avoid the aggression from Skylark and Spartan, but he is going to be okay in the end. Homing missile comes out, Skylark gets stunned up, and they're not going to be able to really continue the chase. But despite the fact that they haven't really been able to take RDO down just yet, they are slowing up his farming rate to a somewhat alarming degree. Take a look at the last hit counts here. The Gyro is sitting on double digits, but he's the lowest hero among the cores, at least, in terms of the actual last hit count here through the first 3 or 4 minutes. So, Skylark and Spartan maybe not getting enough pressure to kill off the Gyro, but if they can slow him down, that's still going to be incredibly beneficial for them moving forward, especially if the Medusa can find farm over on the other side. As Skylark and Spartan are going to push their way onto LeBron, not able to bring him down. Now Spartan actually isn't even going to be able to survive this. RDO comes in with the homing missile into the rocket barrage, will be able to find that kill, as Spartan will be taken down, but over in the middle lane, Wish able to make a play onto Noob, has a little bit of help there as Stromanin will rotate in, and the Nyx Assassin will be able to get the kill. So, simultaneous plays across the map. The puck will be taken down mid, but if you're LevelUP, you at least get something. Something for that is Focus. Now going to get jumped in on. DNZ pushes forward with the Telekinesis. Focus trying his best to sort of save mana with that shield. Doesn't want to sort of blow through all of it, but he does have to make sure he doesn't get picked off, as he will be able to fall back successfully. Throws out the Mystic Snake there at the very end, but doesn't really bounce all that well. Hits onto Funnick, and that's just about it. So, good news is Focus is still alive and still farming in this bottom, or excuse me, in this top lane. Bad news He's getting pushed back a little bit more here. Funnick is feeling a bit more confident as this lane has gone on, and between himself and DNZ, they do have a little bit of a combo to work with. Mentioned it earlier on, that telekinesis play into the Fade Bolt and Fade Bolt and Purification combo is something that really neither Focus nor Stromanin are going to be entirely safe from throughout the entirety of this lane. But for now, they're just going to have to sort of be okay with that sort of ever-present threat, as they really don't have too many ways to force DNZ and Funnick back, as Stromanin is going to get himself into some trouble. He does have the Spike Carapace, but not going to use it just yet. Instead, he turns around looking for the Impale, will connect onto Funnick, but at this point they're still in some trouble. Focus is dropping low. DNZ does not really have anything left to work with, though, mana-wise, so looks like the Medusa will be just fine. Heals up with a salve. Stromanin's actually going to pop a salve of his own. DNZ wrapping around onto the back line here, trying to get behind the tower. Not going to be able to put together any sort of actual maneuver, though, but over in the middle lane, this is where things get complicated. Wish trapped up inside of the Dream Coil. LeBron will be rotating in here as well, looking for the Magic Missile stun. Spartan did TP in to try and defend his teammate, and the LSA will be helpful, but it's not going to be enough. DNZ was still in position there, goes in for the Fade Bolt, looking for the kill, and Wish will be taken down, and now Noob wants to push onto Spartan with that recently acquired Haste Rune, but the LSA is going to hold him back for just long enough for the Lina to retreat. So Spartan gets himself back into the tier 1 tower, will not be taken down just yet, but now he goes over to farm the camp, and Noob may still be able to get this one going. No, not actually going to commit for that fully, but he is making his way down to the bottom lane. The Haste Rune will be wearing off, but by the time it does, he is in position to contribute to this fight, and Skylark does not have his backup here. The Lina has rotated away from the lane, and Noob actually isn't even necessary for that kill. Artio and LeBron just get it done themselves. This is starting to get a little bit concerning if you're Brame. You've given up quite a few kills here across the first few minutes. 4-1 in LevelUP's favor. The only real good news, though, for Brame, and the only saving grace for them, is the fact that they have been farming so well in the early stages here that they really haven't fallen all that far behind. If we take a look at the net worth tab here, most of the cores for Brame are even with or ahead of their direct counterparts. So sure, they've been giving up plenty of kills, but they're at least farming well enough to sort of make up for it. Although, as I say that, Skylark, want to be a little bit careful here. LeBron is trying to wrap around onto him, but the smoke play from the Venge is actually going to get broken up by a smoke from Brame themselves, but by the time they're into this fight, Skylark is already dead. Wish, though, comes in, able to find the first kill on Danube. They're going to look for LeBron here as well. Wish doesn't have the Sleight of Fist up just yet, but once it's back up, he will go in. That damage will be enough for the kill. So, Skylark has to be sacrificed, but it is going to be a 2-for-1 in Brame's favor. Working out pretty well for them. Wish rotates in, gets the assist on the first kill, grabs the second for himself, and now he's actually going to look for a potential fight here on to the Rubik. Hits him up with a Sleight of Fist into the Searing Chains. There is a telekinesis, though, for DNZ, so don't really know if he's going to be able to keep himself safe, and at that point, yeah, the Ember doesn't really want to chase any further forward. Jumps back to the Remnant, able to bottle himself up an Invis Rune, and at that point, securing that rune probably more valuable for him than whatever money he was going to get for picking off that Rubik, if he even got the kill in the first place. So probably the smarter play for the Ember at this time. Meanwhile, what is going on here? DNZ still in a little bit of trouble. Focus and Stromanin are going to try and track him down as they get the slow from the Mystic Snake. Stromanin comes in for the Impale, and DNZ should be dying there. Goes for the telekinesis play, but Wish is able to sort of cut him off before he can escape. Goes in for the Sleight of Fist. Rubik will be picked off. So Wish did not go in for that Rubik immediately the first time around. He sort of bides his time, waits for a second opening, and will be able to secure the kill that time. So nicely played by the Ember Spirit. That's going to be his second kill of the match. Pushes his net worth up to the top of the not the graph, top of the chart right now. About 9 minutes in. So honestly, things going pretty well for Wish. 2-1-2. Meanwhile, see the Ancients being, or attempting, to be sort of stacked up here. Presumably that will be for Focus once he sort of gets himself online and onto that section of the map. As we check in on that Medusa, how's he doing here? Wraithband picked up, got himself the Power Treads, looking for the early Yasha, as his teammates are looking for the early kills. Skylark and Spartan make their way in onto RDO, going to be able to bring him down. Spartan dangerously low on HP there, as LeBron was sort of coming in looking for a bit of revenge, but Alina is able to TP out before the Vengeful Spirit can make it into position. So Brame will get away with the kill. They get everyone out safely. Meanwhile, back mid, Focus. This is not necessarily where he wants to be, but Noob is going to go in for it, dropping down the Dream Coil. They're going to try to bring that Medusa down. Can they find the kill, though? No. Focus still had some wand charges to work with, so they weren't willing to push all the way in, but that means DNZ really just going to be left sort of holding the bag there, as Wish will bring him down. Noob, though, does manage to make his escape, so at least you don't lose the puck, but that goes from a situation where they had a Dream Coil onto 2 cores into no kills and the death of a Rubik. So, unfortunate there for Level Up, but they are trying to make up for it with a push into the top lane. Wish, however, will arrive to try and defend this. He's got teammates TPing in as Skylark will arrive, throwing out the Firestorm into that AoE route from the Pit of Malice, but Wish is still dangerously low on HP here. He is going to try to jump away to that Remnant. He's got reinforcements coming in now as well, as Spartan will arrive for the Laguna Blade. RDO taken down, Funnick in some trouble as well, but the focus is a little bit split here. Skylark is going to try to run down the Omni Knight while it looked like Spartan was, at least temporarily, trying to focus on Noob, but since they don't focus on either one, they're not able to get either kill, and Wish will end up paying for it. Dangerously low on HP after that initial fight. He will be taken down, and now all of a sudden, Skylark and Spartan need to get themselves out of here. They're going to look for the ult, trying to get away with that Dark Rift, and that will actually get them out of the... really out of the general area, as they fall all the way back to their tower. So, initially that was looking pretty damn good for the side of Brame. They push in, they save the tier 1 tower, they find a kill onto the gyrocopter. Everything's looking fantastic for them. But Wish gets caught out there and taken down. The tier 1 tower is eventually finished off, and that play will sort of go Level Up's way a little bit more with the kill in the tier 1. However, Shamanon was at least able to find one more kill there on the backside, taking out the Vengeful Spirit, so that is going to help to sort of even things out a little bit, and at this point, Funnick might actually be in some trouble down bot. Focus and Wish are going to try to push in onto him. Can they actually bring this Omni Knight down, though? They're certainly going to keep on trying, as Wish is just all in on the dive underneath that tier 1, and I think Funnick at this point should be taken down, but the TPs are coming in. They're going to try and keep their teammate alive. Funnick, though, will still be taken down, and now RDO might be in some trouble as well, but Noob TP's in as well. They're going to try and keep the fight going, but the stun connects from Spartan going into the LSA. DNZ dropping low, but not taken down just yet, while Spartan will actually be locked down himself. So, DNZ having the last laugh there as he is going to be able to get the kill. Noob, meanwhile, drops the Dream Coil onto the Ember Spirit. Wish actually snaps that tether early, just so he was going to be able to sort of get himself away from the fight that little bit faster, as he will successfully fall back. But Spartan now buying back into the fight. That's a bit of an interesting one, but well, now we see why. Noob jumped in on in that sort of south side jungle area as Stromaden's able to hit him up with the Impale into that Pit of Malice. Noob, though, not dead just yet. Still trying to get himself away, but that means the rest of his teammates are just going to have to desperately try to defend him as LeBron will be taken down. And unfortunately for LeBron, excuse me, not only does he die, his defensive efforts weren't even enough to save Noob, as Skylark does come in onto him for the last bit of damage. They will lose the puck, and now DNZ gets picked off in the bottom lane as Wish is able to jump in onto him for one final kill. So, Brame's starting to pull away a little bit here with these last couple of fights. 12-7 in terms of the kill count, jumping out to a 2k net worth lead, just past that 13-minute mark, and in terms of the experience, it's actually even further ahead for them, about 4.5, 5k in their favor. So, they are starting to look pretty good here. Win probability ticking up for them as well, at 67%. They want even more for themselves as they push onto the tier 1 tower. Wish and Spartan looking for this objective. A little bit of armor reduction here from Wish with the Orb of Corrosion. And I believe that should be enough. As long as Wish and Spartan just keep on sort of hitting the tower, they should be able to bring it down, especially with all of LevelUp's attention actually focused on the middle lane. As they do jump in onto Shermanen, able to bring him down, they now want a tower of their own. And I don't know if Brame can really hold this. They do have a glyph that could buy them enough time to sort of TP heroes into position, but it looks like Skylark is just going to try and hold it himself, and for now at least, this plan might work. Focus is pushing his way forward as well, using the Mystic Snake to cut through the creep wave, and yeah, that is going to be enough. Skylark and Focus move in, they pop the glyph, and that is going to be enough to keep the tier 1 alive, but DNZ still kind of prowling around here. He's got the Vendetta for a few more seconds. His teammates are going to try to take the opportunity to push back in, looking for that tower a second time, but now they want the kill onto Skylark as well. Will they actually be able to bring him down? Yes, they will. Nice swap play from LeBron, forcing Skylark back into the fight, but now they're going to end up paying for that. Laguna Blade comes out onto Funnick, dropping him low. Not enough for the kill initially, but they will be able to bring him down with the second attempt. Spartan comes in, Funnick taken down, but while that fight was going down, RDO just sort of slips in and manages to take down that tier 1 tower. So, and they do lose Funnick, but it is going to be a 1-for-1 trade on those offlaners, and that trade actually was already favoring LevelUp with the gold that they get for the tier 1 tower as well. That should cut into that deficit a little bit here. Still leaves them trailing by 2k, but at least they come away slightly better than their opponents in the aftermath of that fight. Not really sure if it's going to be enough to move the needle all that much right now, and that is especially worth noting as we take a look at the focus, or excuse me, the farm on focus on this Medusa. Still sitting at the top of the net worth chart here, able to finish off the Manta style, so the Medusa is turning herself into a bit more of a problem for the side of LevelUP right now. They don't really have anyone who's going to be able to go toe-to-toe with her at the sort of particular stage in the game that we're sitting on right now, as RDO did not go for that sort of more teamfight-oriented build that we were talking about earlier on, didn't look for that Maelstrom, instead he's just going straight in for the Aghanim Scepter. So, in the long run, the Ags play is probably going to be better for RDO in terms of damage output later in the match, but for right now, it leaves him in a bit of a weaker position. He can't exactly go headlong into these teamfights the way that they may want him to. Take a look at the stat line for him. He's at least positive at 3, 2, and 2, but those couple of deaths sort of indicative of his current position strength-wise as RDO. Now going to get jumped in on in that north side jungle. Good swap from LeBron, though. Pulling RDO out of the fight. They'll now turn around with the call down. Going to look to bring down Skylark, but it looks like Skylark's going to be able to get himself away. Dark rifts himself out. Spartan, meanwhile, one last parting shot there at the very end as he goes for the Dragon Slave for the kill. LeBron will be taken down. However, over on the other side of the map, Shamanin will be falling in exchange. Noob and Funnick jump in onto him. They're going to be able to take down the Nyx Assassin. They can't, however, get the Ember Spirit as well, as Wish has to wait out the initial lockdown there from the Dream Coil, but he is able to jump away to his Remnant. So, at the end of the day, it's a 1-for-1 trade on the supports. Nyx Assassin falling for Brame, while the Vengeful Spirit will die on the side of LevelUP, but all of the core heroes who were involved in those fights are at least able to walk away successfully. No major losses, I would say there. As we see those core heroes just go right back into the jungle. Focus working his way towards the Eye of Scotty. Meanwhile, RDO did finish off the Aghanim Scepter. He wants... Well, initially he had the BKB queued up for himself, but it looks like now it's going to be a bit more of a damage-oriented focus for RDO. He wants the Diffusal Blade to try and burn through that mana shield that little bit faster. So, I mean, that is going to be fantastic for RDO. He's going to have more damage. He'll have the slow from the Diffusal, and obviously, as we said, the mana burn going to be incredibly effective against the Medusa. But on the sort of other side of the equation, the Diffusal, instead of something like the BKB, will leave him a little bit vulnerable. We saw the last time around he was saved from that aggression by the swap play from LeBron, but I don't know if that's something that you're necessarily going to be able to rely upon every single time to bail you out if you do get stuck. So, I don't know. Feels like the BKB may have been a little bit better for him for defensive purposes, but for the time being, he's going to focus on the damage output instead. As Skylark does lose his courier here, that's a bit of a problem as it is now going to reveal that he's still in the area, but the reinforcements have arrived and RDO is going to get taken down here. That swap play buys him a little bit of time, but it's, I was going to say not enough, but actually he's just fine. RDO will not go down, actually turns around and finds both of those kills as Skylark and Spartan will fall, and Brame, I don't know what happened there. They really just didn't focus in on the Gyrocopter. Once the swap play comes out, they kind of forget about him, and now Wish may actually be taken down here. He is dangerously low on HP, going to get rooted up by a stolen Pit of Malice, and now DNZ comes in with the telekinesis as Wish will be locked down and taken out. Noob gets himself the final kill of that fight, but it's 3 in total to the side of LevelUP. So, I don't really know how that one really goes so wrong for Brame. It looked like they were just going to be able to get, maybe not an easy kill onto RDO, but a kill that they should have been able to secure, but the Laguna Blade was not enough for the kill. The Lina is trying to take down RDO by herself, really, while the other cores on the side of Brame trying to focus on other targets, and at that point, you can't afford to split your focus like that. You have to go for RDO first, take him down, then you can deal with the rest of the lineup, but in that instance, they get a little bit too greedy, they go for multiple kills at a time, they end up with nothing, and now Roshan is under attack. LevelUP looking to take Roshan at the moment, not going to be able to get it immediately though, as we do see Brame pushing in to try and contest it, but this is not going to go fantastically for them. Skylark is already dead. Stramanen will fall as well. RDO once again hit up by the Laguna, but just like last time, it's not enough damage to actually get the kill, and at this stage, Focus, I'm not really sure you want to be here. He is pushing into the pit. There's still about 3 or 4 enemy heroes, though, who could immediately jump in onto him, so this is a very dangerous game he's playing, but Wish is going to be able to respawn, getting himself back into the fight, pushing forward for the Searing Chains onto 2 as LeBron will be locked down, and now here comes Focus, pushing into the fight, popping that Stone Gaze, and, well, that actually goes pretty fantastically for them. DNZ, RDO, and the Vengeful Spirit all taken down, but we do now see some buybacks coming into play. DNZ will be returning to the fight, but are there any other buybacks for the side of LevelUP? There is one on the puck, but he's not dead right now, so doesn't really have to expend it, but we do see a bit of a stalemate developing around this Roche pit. Brame have now pushed their way forward, but I don't know if they really have the resources to finish this off. Wish and Focus are going to go for it, but Spartan is dangerously low on HP. He is trying to heal up with those Trank Boots, while his teammate actually has an opportunity to push onto Funnick, as Wish does hit him up with the Searing Chains, but now going to get hit up by the Telekinesis. Funnick pushes his way in. He's going to look to really just finish off Roshan himself. As the Ron goes for the swap play, Roshan will fall. Wish, though, is going to be the one to take the Aegis, and now Funnick is in some trouble. Taken down, LeBron will be falling as well. Noob tries to get in there at the very last second looking for some kills, but instead he gets caught out by Skylark with the Pit of Malice, and he will be finished off. So, heads up play there by the Ember Spirit, able to get the Aegis into his hands. Brame win that fight and will not just maintain their lead at this point, but actually push it further forward, which is not exactly the way I would have seen this one going after the last couple of minutes. It really did seem like LevelUP were beginning to build up some momentum for themselves as we see this lead from Brame sort of starting to tick down a little bit, but that Roche fight really puts them back in the driver's seat here. 4k ahead and an Aegis in the hands of their Ember Spirit, while the Medusa continues to just farm away. Pulling further and further ahead of the Gyrocopter right now as we see that Eye of Scotty finished off. Medusa, what else does he have coming out to him? Oh, that's just the whip that he is having delivered. So, not really going for that next item just yet, but at this point, what could we see from Focus? He could go for maybe something along the lines of a Butterfly for both sort of damage and defensive capabilities. Could see him just go straight in for further damage output at this stage as well, though. Lots of options for Focus. Honestly, could even go for something like a BKB, although I'm not really sure that that's going to help him out too much, as he is going to get jumped in on. Dream Coil will be there. LeBron, well, I don't know. They go for the swap into the Telekinesis. Focus, though, had that Stone Gaze active already, so they're not really able to directly stand up against him. Focus buys enough time for his teammates to arrive, and now this is turning into a much more complicated fight. Funnick able to go in there with the Guardian Angel. Unfortunately, it doesn't do much good against the pure damage from that Laguna. Well, actually, wait, it's not really pure damage just yet. Sorry, it doesn't actually have the Ags upgrade. Either way, though, the damage was still there. Funnick and LeBron both go down. DNZ will fall as well, and that is going to be 4 dead on the side of LevelUP. So Funnick obviously does his best there to sort of buy time with that Guardian Angel, but it's not really going to matter. Brame push in anyway. They've got enough magic damage to get the kill onto RDO, and once the Gyrocopter falls, the rest of the fight really does fall apart for LevelUP. 4 heroes dead, Tier 2 tower taken, Tier 3 tower now under attack as well, as Brame are going to push their way forward. Noob, though, trying to get behind enemy lines here, hoping to sort of cut a creep wave, but Stramanin, that's a problem. Hits him up with the Impale into the Dragon Slave to follow it up, which is now going to come in looking for some further lockdown, but the puck is going to try to TP himself away. That will not work, though. Eul Scepter will lock him down. Noob will fall. That is going to allow Brame to continue this push onto the Tier 3 as the tower will be taken down. So, the puck is picked off. The Tier 3 tower will fall. The racks are now under attack. There is a buyback, though, on that puck, but he is really going to need it at this point. His puck gets back into the fight, but by the time he arrives to try and defend his teammates, one of them's already been finished off. LeBron has been taken down. RDO in a little bit of trouble here as well. No BKB for him at the moment, so he's going to get rooted up by the Searing Chains. Laguna Blade will come through. Noob trying to get onto the back line, dropping down the Dream Coil, connecting onto 3. Spartan is dangerously low on HP here, and it looks like the Witchblade damage over time will actually finish him off. So Noob will be able to find the kill, but at this point, if you're Brame, you continue to push your way forward. They still have the Aegis up on Wish, so they don't necessarily have to back off just yet, but it looks like they really don't want to stick around for this fight. Once they have the melee racks, they're just going to clear out with the Dark Rift. The only casualty they sustain there is their position 5 support, as the Lina will be taken out, but that's going to be more than worth it. The actual trade-off will favor LevelUP there as the Venge goes down in exchange for the Lina, but if you're Brame, you still have the Aegis, you took the Tier 2 tower bot, you got the Tier 3 and the melee racks. So while the 1-for-1 in and of itself will favor LevelUP, the overall exchange very much in Brame's favor, as you see them really just break this game open. From about a 2k lead to about 4k, from 4k now to about 12,000 in their favor. So things have shifted rather massively here in terms of the scale of the lead for Brame. They just take almost complete control. About 15k ahead on the experience front as well. Win probability up to 93% for them. So Nota Plus seems to think that they have a pretty ironclad grip on this match. We'll see whether or not that's the case. LevelUP not quite out of this one just yet, but they're going to need a little bit more time. RDO is now queuing up that BKB, but I don't... What the hell? Okay. Was that what he meant to do? He drops down 2 sentries. I think one of those was supposed to be an Ob's ward. Well, that's a bit unfortunate for him. Either way, as I said before, buying time for RDO. Honestly, I think this BKB needed to come out before the Diffusal. The effectiveness of the Diffusal Blade really has not been there. We saw RDO with a chance to push in onto Focus there earlier on in that fight in the south side jungle. The problem is, if Focus gets off the Stone Gaze before they sort of make their move onto him, then there's really not a whole lot LevelUP can do as RDO. No, that's... Oh, this is not a situation he can afford to get caught out in, as he is going to get rooted up by the Searing Chains, and... Oh, Spartan brings him down with the Laguna. Good news for LevelUP, perhaps, is the fact that the Aegis now times out on Wish, but it's really not going to matter all that much. The Aegis is now going to time out, but they still end up losing their carry. As Skylark was channeling out the Dark Rift, he is going to cancel that channel, though, so rather than transport themselves elsewhere on the map, Brame are just going to look to push down the middle lane. You see Focus recently finishing off that Butterfly, so mentioned that as a possibility for him earlier on in terms of where he wanted to go next. It does give him both damage and extra defensive capabilities, and as of right now, we are nowhere even remotely close to an MKB purchase on the side of LevelUP, so they're not going to be able to deal with that evasion at the moment. They can at least deal with Shomanen, though, as they do catch out that next assassin, pulling him into their own base, as they will be able to secure that kill, but now LevelUP want even more. Dream Coil will be connecting onto 2, but Wish is coming into the fight, going for the Searing Chains. It's going to keep the Gyrocopter at bay, at least for the moment, as Focus taking a bit of damage there from the call down, but they're not going to be able to really get in onto him just yet. The Stone Gaze, though, is not available for another 20 seconds, so they might have some sort of opening, but they don't want to push into the entirety of the Brame lineup, so LevelUP will be forced to fall back. They do at least hold on to the tier 2 tower, though. So, tower will be defended. The call down is back up in about 20 seconds. The Dream Coil is only about 45-50 seconds away as well, so resources do have to be expended there from the side of LevelUP, but not ones that are on particularly long cooldowns. So, LevelUP could still potentially be gearing up for a fight, especially with Funnick having that Guardian Angel online. Question is, really, can they get onto the Medusa? That is going to be sort of the end-all question, really not just in the fights, but in the match in general. If they can't deal with Focus, I don't think they can actually win these engagements. So far, they have yet to sort of pierce through the pierce through those defenses on the Medusa. 0 deaths for Focus through the first sort of 27 minutes of this match. So, not entirely sure how they're going to do it. That was the plan for the Diffusal for RDO, to try and burn through that Mana Shield a little bit faster, but things haven't quite worked out according to plan. As speaking of which, what the hell was that, noob? That's not a good idea. Tries to sort of cut in behind enemy lines there, hoping, I guess, to just sort of snipe out a creep wave or 2. Instead, he gets stunned up and taken down, and that is the puck gone for 75 seconds. He used his buyback back on that high ground push in the bottom lane, so does have a bit of an extended death timer, and no way back into the match with that buyback still unavailable for 3 minutes. So Brame sees an opportunity as Skylark will basically just transport his entire team to the top lane. They take the tier 2 tower. They're now going to push their way onto the tier 3, but at this point, without the puck, I'm not really sure what LevelUP are going to be able to do here. This is going to be a tough defense for them if they can even mount one in the first place, as they are going to make an attempt. DNZ is able to use the Stolen Firestorm to burn through most of that creep wave, and that is actually going to buy quite a bit of time for the side of LevelUP. Not entirely sure that Brame needed to back away there, but better safe than sorry is the mantra that they're going for here in game number 3. They will be checking the Roche pit here as well, but Roche not going to be back up for 2 more minutes. It's pretty much the longest possible respawn timer, which is not going to go over too well for the side of Brame, but they will look to regroup, pushing their way back onto their opponent's side of the map, as Focus will once again go in for the tier 2 tower mid. This time, he is going to be able to finish that objective off. So, that is now the last of those outer towers taken. Brame will push the lead to 15k, and they have taken pretty much complete control of the map at this point. Really not a whole lot of room for LevelUP to operate. We do see them attempting, though, to get some control back in the southside jungle. RDO and LeBron are pushing out the bottom lane. We see some wards being set up in that jungle area as well. So, at this point, if you're LevelUP, obviously, yeah, control of the map is sort of slipping through your fingers, but you can't afford to just sit back and passively farm creep waves that come your way. That is not going to be enough for RDO to get himself back into a position to sort of lead any sort of comeback. So they need, honestly, to take some risks. Get RDO out there to try and find farm and hope that you can keep him safe from any aggression from the other side. So we'll see just how long LevelUP can sort of draw this one out for. You assume they're going to have at least another minute or two at least, while Brame wait for Roshan to respawn. But beyond that point, not really sure. Brame will take Rosh, they'll get the Aegis and Cheese into their hands, and they will almost assuredly then look for another high ground push. So all going to come down to really just how well LevelUP can deal with that aggression onto their high ground. They've already lost one lane of racks, but, well, I guess a half a lane of racks, technically speaking. Tier 3 and the melee racks taken down bot. But don't know if they can really hold this, especially if Focus continues to build himself up here. You see him queuing up a Rapier at this point. That feels a little bit risky, all things considered, but I don't know. They haven't been able to take him down just yet, and if they can actually take Roshan in the next minute or so, then they could have the Aegis to potentially protect that Rapier. You now see Roshan respawning. Aegis, Cheese, and an Agnum Shard all available. Spartan and Skylark making their way into the pit. Focus is going to make his way over as well, and they should be able to get through this relatively quickly. LevelUP in no position whatsoever to contest it. So, Roshan should be taken. Focus is presumably going to grab the Aegis for himself. Nope. Picks up the Aegis. Wish will take the Shard. So, does have that upgrade to his Remnants to go along with the Aghanim Scepter play. Meanwhile, Cheese, there we go. Initially picked up by Spartan, but it will now be passed into the Ember Spirit's inventory. So, Aegis on the Medusa, Cheese and Shard on the Ember Spirit, and now that Rapier will be purchased. So, this may very well be the end for the side of LevelUP. They're going to have to deal with the Medusa with a split shot Rapier play with an Aegis to back it up. I don't think they can do this. Straight up. They have yet to kill off the Medusa at any point in this game. Now you're going to have to get through her twice with the Rapier in order to actually save the game. So, I don't know about this one. For now, it looks like the name of the game is just going to be to sort of cut through that creep wave as fast as they can, as DNZ was able to clear that out in the top lane. So, without the creep wave, the Medusa's not going to be able to do too much to those towers anyway, so that's at least going to buy some time for LevelUP. But, I mean, really, at this point, what do they do? How do they get through a Medusa with a Rapier and an Aegis? It just seems not impossible, but so improbable that it just doesn't seem realistic. But if you're LevelUP, you have to try, right? You don't really gain much by tapping out right now, so they might as well give it a go, and maybe under the right circumstances, they could lock down that Medusa long enough. It is certainly going to take basically a miracle at this stage for them to be able to pull this one off, but we'll see what they can do as this courier. What in the world's happening there? Is that a... I was going to say, is that a potential Rapier play for the Gyrocopter as well? It is going to be the Demon Edge, but he's looking for the MKB rather than the Rapier, although based on the money that he has available to him right now, he could potentially try to switch that up. Not entirely sure just yet. RDO not really committing for much beyond the Demon Edge itself. So, we'll see how much time they can buy, how much money he can get into his hands. As Brame, not really looking to push in just yet. They're sort of putting LevelUP space under siege to a certain extent. Clearing out the creep wave, sending those Manta illusions forward really over and over again. So, they may not be willing to commit for the high ground just yet, but they're also just trying to sort of keep their opponents pushed back inside of their own base, as we do see RDO now committing to that item. The Demon Edge will simply be built up into the MKB, so he does now have a little bit of extra damage and attack speed, the ability to get through some of that evasion on the Medusa as well, but that purchase is going to price the Gyrocopter out of his buyback. He's about 1,000 gold short, so the MKB certainly increases his overall damage output, but if he gets taken down and doesn't have buyback available, I'm not really sure how much good that MKB actually ends up doing. But on the other hand, if the gyrocopter gets taken down quickly enough where he has to buy back in the early stages of the fight, then the consideration for RDO might be that a second life isn't really going to do him all that much good. So, points to be made, both for and against, I suppose. As we do see Brame now looking to push their way into the top lane. Focus is leading the charge. Skylark will get himself in there with the Dark Rift. But Focus still not quite pushing all the way forward here. So I'm not entirely sure what Brame think they're going to be able to get at this point. LevelUP are not just going to... Okay, never mind. They're going to do exactly that. They'll push their way out of the base looking for Spartan. Able to take the Lina down, but that's exactly the moment that they were looking for on the side of Brame. Swish will jump his way in. BKB active, looking for some kills in the backline. Not going to be able to bring anyone down, but that does get his teammates into the engagement. They'll push their way onto the high ground. LeBron going to get taken down first. Now they'll focus themselves in on that tier 3 tower. But they don't actually have a creep wave here. Gonna have to wait a few extra moments. That creep wave will arrive, and now they'll go in onto the tier 3. But we do see buybacks coming out from LevelUP. The Vengeful Spirit will get back into position, but by the time she's back with her teammates, the tier 3 tower has already fallen, and the top lane is rapidly being taken down by that Medusa. So this is sort of what I mentioned earlier on. They're not going to be able to focus in on that Medusa. They can't even really get the rapier out of his hands. So as long as that is the case, I don't really see LevelUP being able to do this, but they're going to give it a go anyway. They try to jump in onto Wish instead of the Medusa, but Wish does have the cheese, able to pop that, getting himself back to about full HP while Focus pushes in for the damage. LeBron taken down, Funnick dropping low as well, trying to get himself back in as the Force Staff from DNZ will actually be enough to save him for now. However, with Funnick falling back, Brame are looking to push their way forward. They wanted the tier 3 tower, not going to commit forward entirely though, as they do back away just as that Aegis was timing out. So Focus does have to be a little bit more careful. He no longer has the Aegis to protect this rapier, so he is going to have to play a little bit more defensively. Stormanen, though, okay, doesn't give a shit about the fact that they don't have the Aegis anymore. He goes directly in onto Noob, blocks him down. The puck will fall. DNZ falls as well. The gyrocopter even getting locked down. His Wish will pick up the triple kill, and that is going to basically force every single buyback that LevelUP had left, as they're going to commit with everything that they have now, realizing this is it. If they can't win this next fight, it could very well be the game. But for right now, Focus doesn't appear to care about the presence of multiple enemy heroes here. As he pushes his way through the middle lane of Rax, the Mega Creeps will be acquired, and now Brame are going to go on to the tier 4s. First tower already taken down. If LevelUP are going to make some sort of move, they're going to have to go for it now, really. Tier 4 towers are falling. They are running out of time, but they want the Vengeful Spirit back in before they make a play. They're going to have to wait another sort of 5 seconds, though, for the Venge to get back in, and they don't have that much time. The tier 4 tower will fall. The Ancient is under attack. They do have to go right now. They can't afford to wait any longer, as RDO is going to get pushed back towards his own fountain. Whoa, Focus. Swapped in by the Venge, but where's the follow-up? No one else is there to actually do any damage, and that's just it. Okay. Nice attempt from the Vengeful Spirit, but at the end of the day, if no one's there to follow it up and actually try to kill off that Medusa, it doesn't really matter. All 5 members of LevelUP will fall. The GG gets called, but Brame are through the Ancient before the GG can actually take effect. Oh boy. Well, I mean, that's how it works. That's how the Medusa plays. They needed to do something about Focus.
This isn't my job, okay?
They're not able to do
I don't
so.
need to know this stuff, all right? I'm the shoot 'em up guy. I'm the run and gun son. I'm the bang bang boy.
At the Mark 24-3.
Text-to speech just says 3, not less than 3. Okay. That's interesting. But either way, Jay Constant with the resub 10 months. Thank you very much. Appreciate you greatly. Thank you very much, Jason. 10 months in total, 4-month streak. Appreciate the continued support.